Hey guys, Jesse right here, and I want to go over finesse style fishing for the winter time. Whenever I think finesse style fishing in winter time, it brings me back to 2013, 2014 when I first started fishing Z-Man. I was taking the zinkers, the bastards, and I was cutting them in half to make worm style baits for saltwater, and I was catching redfish and trout and flounder with them. And now you fast forward to 2024 and Z-Man has so many different finesse style baits for bass fishing, and they're starting to trickle into saltwater. And I've been taking the freshwater baits the last few years and catching a lot of fish with them during the winter months. That's usually, I say, November to March is usually when that period is. And I want to try and make this as quick as possible so it's not a long video. But I just want to go over the baits. I want to go over the tackle that I'm using for it, and just kind of want to give you guys my experience with everything. That's like the main reason why I made like a YouTube back in the day and Instagram and stuff like that. Not so much for, I like sharing my pictures and my photos with you guys, or my photos and my videos and stuff with you guys, but the main reason was to educate and help people catch more fish. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do this. So hopefully this helps. So let's go through it real quick. Right here I have a Salty Ned shrimp. It's Z-Man's TRD style bait for saltwater. I have it rigged on a finesse BulletZ. This thing casts a mile. It goes through grass really well. It's a weedless style bait. I've been doing really well at night fishing with it for redfish and snook. And then during the daytime, especially on a low tide, this really works well for redfish. So if you're looking for a crustacean style bait, that Salty Ned shrimp is a great option. Because once you start getting into these cooler months, like the water temperature right now is 63 degrees, so those fish are mainly targeting smaller baits. They're targeting small whitebait, pinfit, small baits. Like the last few months, we're seeing a lot of smaller 1 to 2 inch baits. They're targeting crustaceans, aquatic worms, stuff like that. So I tend to downsize my baits when it starts getting cooler out. Two other baits that I like to throw is that Hula sticks. Everybody knows I like the Hula sticks. I've been trying to get the right stuff in it. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it's a really great bait on a Pro ShrimpZ, a little bit heavier gauge hook. So if you are fishing for redfish, you don't have to worry about it bending out. And I also like throwing on a SnakeLocks. SnakeLocks is a really good hook for it. Bring it through the grass really well. It's a last tech, so it's going to stand up really well when it's on the bottom. Barely move that rod tip. That little tentacles will move. Redfish or a snook come up and pop it. I'm sure you can catch some flounder on it too. Tailing fish, man, a couple years ago I was throwing this a lot on that this Jighead right here, little NedlockZ Jighead, exposed hook. Not the greatest for if there's a lot of grass, but you keep your rod tip up. Usually you can kind of fish it through the grass depending on how thick it is. But that combination right there is doing really well for tailing fish, and I like it in the molting crawl. Same thing as like the Hula stick. Molting crawl is probably my favorite. Blue claw also is a real popular color for me. But in this, molting crawl is probably my go-to. And then hot craw, that was my Tennessee bass bait color. So, but I'm sure redfish ain't gonna matter. He's gonna crush it regardless. So that's the baits that I'm using right now when it starts cooling down. Like I said, that water temperature's in the mid 60s now. It's pretty chilly. So moving on to the tackle, let's start off with the reel. 25 3000 size reel. You want to have something you're going to be fishing with all day long. It's not going to fatigue you. Something you can cast all day long and not have to worry about it. 7 foot to 7'6". Depends on the angler. I like 7 foot myself. I'll maybe 7'2". And that's going to be a 6 to 12 medium light. You want something that's not going to be super stiff where you're just going to rip that fish's face off. You want something that's going to be able to load, make the cast, and when you get a bite, you're using the rod to set the hook. It's not going to be just pretty much the reel setting the hook. You know what I mean? Because you have too stiff a rod, it's just going to pull that hook right out. You want to have something that's going to load up and keep that fish pinned. 8 to 10 pound braid, personal preference. I have some with 8. This one has 10. They both cast pretty similar. And then leader material. Depends on what's in the area. If I know there's snook in the area, I'm throwing 25. If I'm mainly catching redfish and trout, I'm throwing 20. The clearest material I feel like is going to be either that Premier Seaguar or that Gold Label. Either one's going to work. And like I said, 25 if there's snook in the area, 20 pound if it's just redfish and trout. You can even bump down to 15 if you want, if you're feeling a little frisky. So that's pretty much it, guys. So if you haven't fished finesse baits during the wintertime, I highly recommend it. You're going to catch a lot of fish with it. It's a completely different style of fishing, and it's just a ton of fun when you can go out there and catch a 30-inch fish on a bait that's 2 inches long, 1.5 inches long, whatever. So if you guys have any questions, please message me in the comments, DM me, and I appreciate you guys watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.